we shall be dealing about the properties of ionic compounds. In previous lectures, we have dealt that how ionic bonding take place between different species, and on ionic bonding, we get ionic compounds which will have certain properties, and those properties will be discussed in this session. Now, once we start with the properties of ionic compounds, different properties which they possess, like they have their melting point, they possess hardness, they have their certain solubilities, or they possess electrical conductivity. So one by one we have to deal all these properties. So we shall be starting with the very first property, that is the melting point. Now student, remember that melting point of ionic compounds basically depends on two factors. So the very first factor is the lattice energy, and the second factor is the polarization. About lattice energy, we had a great discussion in the topic Born-Haber cycle, and about polarization, we have already discussed in the Fazan's rule. Now, remember that whenever we have to compare the melting point of ionic compounds, both these factors will be operating, means we can compare the melting point on the basis of both these factors, but the very important point which we have to remember is that we cannot include both these factors simultaneously or together. Rather, when polarization is not acting or negligible, in that case we have to apply the concept of lattice energy, and once there is the extent of polarization in the compound, in the molecule, then in that case we have to only use the concept of polarization. So we shall be using very first, that is the concept of lattice energy, to compare the melting point of ionic compounds. So I mentioned in the note that do not forget to use the concept of lattice energy to compare the melting point when we neglect the polarization, or there is almost negligible extent of polarization in the molecule. Now let us move to observe that how we can utilize lattice energy as the factor to compare the melting point. Now student, we must remember that lattice energy is basically, it is the energy liberated or evolved when oppositely charged ions are brought from infinity position to a certain internuclear distance to form an ionic compound. Means, let us say we have taken a positively charged cation, say A, and we have taken a negatively charged anion. Now, since they are free from each other, means A positive and B negative, that is this cation and anion, they are not held to each other through an electrostatic Coulombic force. Hence, we call the separation between these two as infinity. Means, we will say that the gap between A positive and B positive will be infinity. Why we are calling it as infinity? Because no attractive force is acting between these two oppositely charged particles. But if these particles are brought to each other when they experience certain attractive force, that is electrostatic Coulombic force, then in that case they must be, let us say A positive, this is the positively charged cation, and this is the negatively charged anion. Now if these two are held to each other through a force, then in that case we have to call that the distance or the separation between these two will be r. Basically there will be no gap between these two particles, that is cation and anion, and since now they are attached to each other through a attractive force, so we have to take the internuclear distance as r. Now the lattice energy, which is also represented by U, will be given by K into Q1 into Q2 upon R square from infinity to R. Initially, A positive and B negative, that is the cation and anion, they were free from each other. So the gap between the two was referred as the infinity. Now lattice energy is defined as the energy evolved when a cation and anion are brought to each other from infinity position to R, that is the internuclear distance between the two. Now finally we will be having lattice energy as minus K Q1 Q2 upon R on integration. Here Q1 is the charge on cation, also we can write it as Z positive, Z is the atomic number of the cation, positive is the cation, multiplied by the charge on electron, this will be the total charge associated with the cation. Whereas Q2 is the charge on anion, which can be written as Z into E. For anion we have to take negative charge here. So here in the formula of lattice energy, that is minus K Q1 Q2 upon R, R is the internuclear distance between the cation and the anion, and Q1 is the charge associated with the cation, and Q2 is the charge associated with the anion. Now once we go to compare the melting point of different substances, the very first point which we have to remember is that from the formula of lattice energy, which is equals to minus K Q1 Q2 upon R. Here K is the constant. We can say that lattice energy will be proportional to the product of the charge, and it will be inversely proportional to the internuclear distance. Also remember that more is the lattice energy, more will be the melting point. So lattice energy will be also proportional to the melting point of the substance. So we can summarize it as lattice energy will be proportional to Q1 into Q2, that is the product of the charge, which will be inversely proportional to radius and will be directly proportional to the melting point. Now we shall be using these concepts to compare the melting point. So let us consider the very first case, that is the case 1, where internuclear distance between different species will be the same, but the product of charge, that is Q1 Q2, will be different. So in case 1 we have to take when internuclear distance between cation and anion, that is R, is same, but the product of charge, that is Q1 into Q2, are different. For example, let's discuss about or compare the melting point of NaF and MgO. Here in NaF, Na has a +1 charge, whereas F has got a -1 charge. Similarly, in MgO, Mg has +2 charge and O has -2 charge. Now, cationic radius in both these compounds are similar. That means Na and Mg, Na positive, Mg2 positive, in these two different compounds will possess similar sizes, and F negative and O2 negative will have similar size. Means in both the cases, in both these two compounds, different compounds, we have the same internuclear distance. But if we check the product of charges, here in NF, Q1 into Q2 will be equals to 1 into 1, that is equals to 1. In MgO, the product of the charge will be equal to 4. That means in these two different compounds, we have different product of charges, but internuclear distance are same. Now, as we move to the initial concepts where we have discussed that lattice energy is proportional to the product of charge and is also proportional to the melting point. Means we can summarize that since MgO has greater product of charge, so melting point of MgO will be greater than that of NaF. By keeping internuclear distance same and bringing variation in the product of charges, we concluded that more is the product of charge, more will be the lattice energy, and hence more will be the melting point. Now let us consider another case where we shall be observing that the product of the charge will be same, but there will be difference in the internuclear distance. So let us consider this case with an example of NaCl and NaF. Here in NaCl, the charge on sodium will be +1 and that of Cl will be -1. Similarly in NaF, +1, -1. Now in both the cases we are finding that the product of the charge is similar. Here Q1 into Q2 will be equal to 1 into 1, that is 1. Also in NaF, the product of the charge will be equal to 1. Similarly, we can take another example of MgO and CaO. Here in MgO, the charge on magnesium is +2, oxygen -2, calcium +2, O -2. We are considering here two different examples because in the very first example we can observe that the cations are similar, anions are different. In the second case we have different cations and similar anions. Now student, remember that here also if we find that the product of the charge in both the cases are similar, that is 4 in each case. Now moving to the initial concept which we have dealt, we found that the lattice energy is inversely proportional to the internuclear distance, and lattice energy is also directly proportional to melting point. So if we observe the second example of MgO and CaO, we find that the size of calcium will be greater as compared to that of magnesium. Means in MgO, due to smaller internuclear distance, lattice energy will be greater and hence its melting point will be also greater. So we can conclude that melting point of MgO will be greater than that of CaO, because in case of MgO, due to smaller size of magnesium, the internuclear distance R will be smaller. Hence, lattice energy of MgO will be greater as compared to that of CaO, and hence MgO will have greater melting point as compared to calcium oxide, that is CaO. Now moving to the next property of ionic compound, and that is the electrical conductivity. The third property which we shall be dealing is the electrical conductivity. Now student, as already we know that in ionic compounds we have the presence of cation and the anion. Like if we discuss about NaCl, we find that on dissociation NaCl gives Na positive and Cl negative. Means due to the presence of charge, these ions will lead to electrical conductivity. Hence, in case of ionic compounds, there is presence of positively charged cation Like in NaCl, we have got Na positive and the negatively charged anion, that is chloride ion. These ions or charged particles on migration, on mobility, will lead to electrical conductivity. Now, in this section, we shall be observing that how we can compare the electrical conductivity of different ionic compounds. So, the very first point we have to observe that ionic compounds can be present either in a particular solvent, that is in a medium, or they can be alone. So, let us take the first case, case 1, that is when ionic compound is not present in a solvent, that is in absence of medium or in gaseous or molten phase. So basically here we are considering a case where we are not dissolving an ionic compound within a medium, that is in a solvent, means we are considering its gaseous or the molten phase. Now remember, in case of the gaseous or the molten phase, the very first point to be observed is electrical conductivity will be inversely proportional to the polarization. Means greater is the polarization, smaller will be the electrical conductivity. Now let us consider an example. Let us take LiCl and NaCl. Now in LiCl and NaCl we are finding that the anions are common but the cations are different. Here in LiCl, Li will have smaller size as compared to Na. And student, already we have discussed in the Fazan's rule that smaller is the charge of the cation, more is the extent of polarization, and hence less will be the electrical conductivity. So in LiCl, what we observe, the lithium due to smaller size will lead to greater extent of polarization as compared to sodium in NaCl. So due to greater polarization of LiCl, its electrical conductivity will be smaller. So once we compare, the electrical conductivity order will be LiCl will have smaller electrical conductivity as compared to NaCl. Again, what we are finding that in case of LiCl, the covalent character or the polarization extent will be greater. So due to greater polarization in LiCl than NaCl, NaCl will possess greater electrical conductivity.